with Dave's guy Charlie. Dave, on a scale of 1 to 10, would you say you're a 100 on the Charlie Puth fan scale?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if I'm at 100, but definitely a huge fan of Charlie Puth. Specifically, a huge fan of that second album, the until recently most recent Charlie Puth album, and that would be Voice Notes from early 2018. I just thought he really leveled up, and to me, that's my favorite like pure pop album from a male vocalist in recent memory. Like I think there's just some fucking joints on that one, man. Like he always had the talent and songwriting ability. You know, originally started his career as a writer. People know the story, but like after initially bombing with the debut album Nine Track Mind, to like completely change the narrative with Voice Notes. Like there's songs on that, like good like 5-6 songs I still love from that album, and I think since then, of course, he's gotten even more famous. Like he's clearly as popular as he's ever been,
Oh,
and
yeah.
a big part of that is just kind of imbuing his personality into TikTok by
Yep.
showing his creative process as a songwriter who's clearly very talented and very thoughtful, but also as a classically trained music producer as well. Of course, going to Berkeley School of Music for like music production. Like he's really well trained and like he just has a knack for showing that, right? So the anticipation for the third Charlie Puth album, as the wait stretched on past 4 years, for me was quite high. And I think it was quite high for a lot of people just because he had recently given us some like great tracks. And now he had just been teasing everyone with songs that sounded pretty cool in their unfinished forms on TikTok. So I had a lot of anticipation for this third album, Charlie.
And did it live up to your expectations, Dave? That's my question.
Yeah, that's a great question. To be frank, I don't like this as much as Voice Notes. It's different than Voice Notes, and I
Mhm.
think even like mild disappointment from Charlie Puth, similar to the Rina Sawayama album we just got, where like when the bar is so high and the talent is so evident and like the goals of the music is at a pretty high level, like there's still lots of things to appreciate and admire and take away from albums that don't fully like satisfy you. And that's how I feel about Charlie, where like I think just the production style, and to his credit, he produced this all by himself this time around. Awesome to see someone signed to a major album, major record label like he is on Atlantic. To see someone like have that much control over their career in their prime this way, and just be like, no, I'm just gonna do this myself, and really cool. But the thing that like kind of irks me about it is like he has tuned up his vocals pretty consistently on Charlie. And not that he hasn't done that in the past, but on Voice Notes, he just sounded so much more timeless to me. And like Puth's a corny dude, right? Like he always has been. He's a theater kid. But like he had some like sexy ass fucking songs on Voice Notes, man. I don't know if I quite hear that the same way on this. Like I don't want to. I'm not as interested in Charlie Puth telling me why he's a sad boy right now because some girl broke his heart. Like I don't really care about that as much. Like, I just really like him doing melodic math because he's a fucking amazing songwriter, you know? And yeah, so I say I have mixed feelings on this. There's some songs I do dig, but as a big Charlie fan, it's like, I wish he just did more of the other thing.
Yeah. He has a song on this called "When You're Sad, I'm Sad," and listening to this album, he was
Nice.
sad and he made me sad. So, um, you know, I I really didn't like this very much. I'd say there's probably 2 or 3 songs that I thought were pretty good. The
Mhm.
clear standout is the one we've heard the longest, which is "Light Switch." Like that song is just like such a shot of like bubblegum pop adrenaline in this whole thing. Like you
Mhm.
mentioned, a lot of the rest of it is him kind of talking about this loss and how he sees himself from it, and how he's coping. And I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't come to Charlie Puth to like come and get in my feelings. Like I have Christine and the Queens for that if I need it. I have Adele for that. I don't come to Charlie for that. I want to hear the bops, and there weren't many on this.
I know, man. There's so many pops on voice notes. Yeah, and I think what's a bit disappointing too, like to me, like I don't even like Light Switch that much. It's like really tightly made, and that was a song he teased extensively on
Yeah.
TikTok before he officially released it. And it's kind of the sequel to the first time he did that with a song he didn't officially release, which would be the song, in quotes called "Me and You," which you listen to like it's been pieced together on YouTube through all his TikToks, and people have basically made the song themselves. That one is like super catchy and super cool, and he just never put it out and didn't make this record. But like, yeah, Light Switch is like, yeah, it's pretty good, and like Left and Right with Jungkook from BTS, like, yeah, it's pretty good. And like, if you have like spatial uh headphones on, you can hear the directional audio of the left and the right. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
it's pretty cool, but like, and like, I think Charlie Puth is so talented that like he can like kind of like crap out like uninteresting songs that also happen to be still like really tightly made and like tightly written. That I was like, man, I was like, you know what? I was like, it's still pretty good. That's still like a 7 because like your worst work is usually like a 7. But like, I'm not listening to you hear sevens. I want to hear the nines, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, I think the one moment where I was like, oh, this is actually like super brilliant from Charlie, which would be, I believe it's the most recent single. There's like 6 singles now, I think, which would be track 2, Charlie Be Quiet. I
Yeah,
think
that's another good
that
one.
one, that one rocks like straight up. And like Charlie as the producer really shines on that, right? Where he does all these key changes as a performer, and he really switches up uh the sonics, right? Like when the chorus comes in, it's like super distorted and like really cool. But then when you get to like the full on verses after the chorus, they're like super catchy because shocker, Charlie Puth can really write. And I think that's a song that's like super interesting and much more interesting than really anything else on the record. And I was really running that one back a lot after really digging into it this weekend when I heard the full album.
Yeah, that song "Charlie Be Quiet." The production around the chorus is great, and sometimes his voice gets toned down to like Brandon Urie's like
Mhm.
level, from Panic at the Disco, which I think is pretty cool. His vocals are definitely pretty malleable all over this record. Um, Another song I liked, and it gave me like real like 2010s like pop like soft rock vibes, was "I Don't Think That I Like Her." I don't know, I think it might have been the "wow wow wow" at the beginning. I don't know if that's a synth or if that's like some guitar distortion, but I also the chorus is so like, I don't know, early like Panic at the Disco maybe still. I don't know. I guess I was getting heavy like soft
Yeah,
Panic at
sure.
the Disco vibes on this, but yeah, that was those were the three songs that I really liked off this. The rest I was like, man, even the one where you get the BTS member Young Kook on here, I was like, man, are we gonna get like a BTS bop here? No, we get another sad song. So
Yeah.
where we're at with our guy
Yeah, I
Puth.
mean, shout out Jungkook though. Like Left and Right is now the uh fastest song featuring a K-pop soloist to get to 300 million streams. It's like whoop de doo, but BTS Army will love anything, I think.
Anything.
Yeah, like there's a lot of production I appreciate. Like on Loser, I love the drums. On Marks on My Neck, I like the way the drum hits on that. Tears on My Piano, the bass and the kick drum sounds good. Like it's really well produced. I just don't like the choices with the vocals for the most part. And it's just a bit distracting or like kind of like numbs the edges of like his good writing. Like the writing is usually pretty good. And even like the lyrics sometimes can be a bit up and down. Like the song construction is always like really tight just because that's how talented he is. And I just hope the next one isn't 4 years later, you know?
Well, hopefully we get something a little more upbeat soon.